blood feud between Godwin and Brady over the number 12. Turns out, Peter King had Chris Lick, the Bucs GM, on and said that old Tampa Tom was thinking about being number 7. And they were like, why number 7? He's like, 7 rings. Like, first of all, that would be a very big compliment to Michael Vick. I think Michael Vick would love it. Second of all, biggest flex in the history of the jersey world if you turn to number 7. But I got a new idea, Jenna. You got TB12, that brand is established. You get your 7th ring. Now what are you gonna do? Everyone who wants a Tom Brady jersey already has one. They got the Patriots ones, you got the Bucs ones. Switch it up. Go for number 8. This is already out there. Go for number 8. Put everybody on notice next year, assuming that you win. Change your jersey, sell a bunch of jerseys. Savvy move, pro bono from your buddy Kevin Wilds.
Love it.
I love it, Kevin.
7.
Hey, I have a question for you guys. If I asked you to paint me a picture of confidence, would showing up for work in a Brinks truck not qualify as the masterpiece of all masterpieces? Jalen Ramsey exudes self-confidence, whether it's on the field with his play, whether it's off the field with his GQ interviews, showing up for work with a bunch of cash behind him. That is what you call confidence. Not this year. This year he came into the season, great season, a little quieter, took it down about 500 notches. He was a little more subtle in his approach to post-game press conferences. We didn't hear much from Jalen Ramsey. Never was this more evident than when he was asked about why quarterbacks throw his way. Take a listen, really subtle.
9 out of 10 times, after I make a play, I really be thinking in my head, like, why they even try me? Why the quarterback try that?
9 out of 10 times after I make a play, I'm thinking, why they even try me? Jalen Ramsey, perhaps everything I said was wrong. All right, speaking of quiet confidence, you got your Kansas City Chiefs. Can they defend their Super Bowl title? Yeah, they can for 2 reasons. Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, both unguardable, both playing some unbelievable ball. Both can probably beat Scotty Too Hotty in a foot race. Here's Patrick Mahomes on his top 2 targets.
They're playing really good football right now. I think that's the biggest thing. I'm just taking what's there, trying to get the ball to the guys in space. I'm never someone that kind of chooses who I'm throwing to. I just throw it to whoever's open. And so those guys have been getting open. I've been able to get them the ball, and I'm sure the Bucs have seen that as well. So I'm sure they'll have a game plan to try to slow those guys down, and we'll have to adjust to that.
All right, Brandon, we sort of teased this at the top of the show. I know, he had the smirk going throughout. Can Tyreek and Travis go down as the best receiving duos of all time? Duo.
Whoa, 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 whoa. They're definitely amongst the greats, but I don't think they're going to go down as the greats, because when you think about duos, you think about Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison. You think about wide receivers, right? When you think about these guys, you have a tight end and you have an athlete. That's what you have. And the reason why this is an interesting conversation is because when you ask guys who their top 5 wide receivers are, the guy that's always overlooked, the guy that mostly missed the cut is always Tyreek Hill. Like, I did it early on this season, and Nick, you were like, Brandon, but what about? And then Essay, one of my friends, she's like, Brandon, what about? She's also from Kansas City. I'm like, you know what? You're right. We just had DK Metcalf and Justin Jefferson on I Am Athlete, and they gave their top 5, and neither one of them picked neither one of them picked Tyreek Hill. So I think there's this thing around Tyreek Hill where we think about him more of like a Devin Hester type guy, an athlete, instead of a wide receiver. He is redefining what it means to be wide receiver. So I'm glad that we're having this conversation, because it's time for us to respect what this dude is doing. You can put him in any type of offense with any quarterback, and he's still going to be prolific and electrifying. So Nick, right now, I don't think so, because the narrative around this guy, and we haven't said it, but it's more of like, you're Devin Hester, you're an athlete.
So there's a lot to unpack here. Just real quick, that Mahomes soundbite, and we could play every soundbite he has from now until the Super Bowl. I guarantee you he's going to have that same kind of look. That wry, I'm hiding my smile, because I don't want to say the Chiefs are overconfident, but I think the Chiefs believe they can score 45 points in this Super Bowl. So go ahead and pack that one away. You can see it through all of his. I'm just letting you know. Now, as far as this specific question,
that is a lot to unpack.
The best receiving duo. Just look at him. He's like trying to hold back a laugh almost. Best receiving duos of all time.
Back.
Let's go through the list just quickly. Lynn Swann and John Stallworth were the first great duo. It's impossible to compare their numbers to any of the contemporary duos because the game was so different. But that was the gold standard initially. And then some people would say Rice and Taylor, but that's got a bit of a Jordan and Pippen feel to it, where it's one guy was so great, the other guy wasn't quite on that level. And then you've got 3 all-time duos. Our former colleague and friend Chris Carter and Randy Moss set the gold standard, but they only did it for 4 years together, but the numbers are out of this world. Brandon mentioned Marvin and Reggie. The problem is they actually only did it for 3 years together at a super high level, 04, 05, 06. The best receiving duo over a long period of time is Holt and Bruce. They had an 8-year run together that was absolutely remarkable, and they won a Super Bowl together. Well, Kelce and Hill are halfway to those 8 years, and their numbers are out of this world. In their 4 years together, they already have more yards than Carter and Moss together had in their 4 years. Their touchdowns are off the charts, and they're both under contract for Tyreek the next 2 seasons, Travis for the next 5. So it is not unrealistic, Wilds, to say they could go down as the most prolific receiving duo of all time. What Swann and Stallworth obviously have are the multiple rings. Well, these two guys are 9 days away from their second ring. So they win on Sunday. They 1 or 2 of them have another big playoff performance. Tyreek already had the biggest play of last year's Super Bowl. Kelce had the touchdown to get the Chiefs back going in that Super Bowl to start the comeback. I don't think it's ridiculous to say that a guy who came into the league as a kick returner and a tight end could end up as the greatest receiving duo in the history of the league.
Ex-quarterback.
Okay.
Right.
So, you know what's interesting about leading up to this week? There hasn't been a lot of bulletin board material. There were for the playoffs. You got people dancing on logos and juju stuff. Yeah. But in the actual Super Bowl lead up, no one has said anything. So I think Todd Bowles needs to turn to the media and one Nick Wright to get fired up by saying that the Chiefs are going to put up 45 points. But here's the problem. My old buddy Carlton Davis, who has taken on as my second favorite Buck, got torched by Tyreek Hill. So Todd Bowles, you got to figure out what to do with Tyreek Hill here. But best defense is a good offense. Nick, I will bandy this back to you. Perhaps Mahomes has the 2 best weapons. Perhaps Tom Brady has numbers 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I would say that before we get too ahead of ourselves, saying that the Chiefs have some of the best wide receivers of all time, are we sure they have the best pass catchers on the field this Sunday? By this Sunday, I mean next Sunday.
Brandon, yes, I'm sure, because the 1 and 2 are so demonstrably better than 3, 4, 5, and 6. And by the way, Brandon, did you see the graphical disrespect there? Scotty Too Hotty, the fastest man alive, doesn't even make the graphic. Scotty Too Hotty doesn't even make the graphic for our old buddy Kevin Wilds, Brandon. Wow. Wild disrespect.
Come on, man. You got to show some respect.
I like Scotty Too Hotty.
100%. But Nick, Wilds have a point. You got those guys on the other side can get it done, and it's only been 5 or 6 games that they've really elevated to what we thought they would be coming into the year. They struggled all year. Now everybody's starting to find their way within this offense. So that's a great point by Wilds. But Nick, you said there's a lot to unpack here, and I can't just let you off the hook here. And I'm gonna be quick. All right, Jenna. But you talked about, look at Patrick Mahomes' face. You see that smirk, and he's hiding his smile because he doesn't want to seem overconfident. Nick, I've been watching film, buddy, of that first matchup between those guys this year. And I'm telling you, after that first quarter, it was locked down. You need to go watch the film a little bit more because quarter 2, 3, and 4 was a totally different ball game. Watch it. I think that little smirk that you're seeing is him kind of a little nervous, Nick.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think it's him saying, remember that first quarter? We're going to do that in quarters 1, 2, 3.
Switch it up. Go for number 8. This is already out there. Go for number 8. Put everybody on notice next year, assuming that you win. Change your jersey. Sell a bunch of jerseys. Savvy move. Pro bono from your buddy Kevin Wilds.
Love it.
I love it, Kevin.
7.
Hey, I have a question for you.